My amendment prohibits the provision of gender transition procedures, including surgery or medication, through the Exceptional Family Member Program. I think I've heard it all when my good friend on the other side mentioned that the medical profession was for the surgery. That's like saying the owners of a gas station or a petroleum company are for gasoline production.
Just on the comment about doctors being like gas station owners, of course a doctor is going to want to operate whenever you show up. That is not the way the medical profession works. I've been through a number of operations myself. I don't always agree with decisions that doctors make, but I will stand up for the medical profession and say they're not selling a product to the point where the more of it they sell, the happier they are. They're not just going to operate on anyone who walks in. It is the purpose of a medical doctor to make a medical determination about what the proper treatment is, not to sell as much of it as is humanly possible. So I stand by what I said earlier. Congress should not be telling doctors what medical decisions they should make.
The Exceptional Family Member Program provides resources to military families with special needs. This program is designed for military spouses, children, or other dependent family members who require ongoing medical or educational services, such as individuals with asthma, autism, chronic respiratory illness, intellectual disabilities, and much more. The military has tried to politicize this valuable program in order to get transgender procedures passed. For example, the Air Force suggested using the Exceptional Family Member Program for families who want to help their child transition. I would just say you're taking, and I'll list some other things that are included in this that already exist that they're paying for, and to take money away from the things I will mention, I think is unheard of.
I think we can all agree we want our military dependents to be safe and healthy. In fact, that is a crucial part of our national security. If our service members are worried about their families, they're not going to be focused on the mission that we need them to do. That's why military dependents should have access to gender-affirming care, which is safe, essential, medically necessary care that promotes the health and well-being of transgender people. Now, I highly doubt my colleagues who support this amendment know someone who's personally received gender-affirming care, let alone talk to them about their experience, about what it was like with the doctor, about how hard or easy it was to receive that care. I have. Earlier this year, my transgender brother had gender-affirming care surgery. He'll tell you it's been life-changing, and it improved his relationship with his body, his life, and his society. He'll also tell you it wasn't easy to get it. That confidence and happiness that my brother has, that's what I want for everyone, especially those in the LGBTQ+ community who are too often misunderstood, judged, discriminated against, and then have to hear the hateful things coming from my colleagues on the other side of the aisle. But denying service members the ability to provide medically necessary care for their children, this amendment will lead service members to leave the military, will weaken efforts to recruit other people with trans family members to join the military. We've already seen this happen, where service members have had to dramatically alter their career or leave the service altogether in order to support their trans dependents. The bottom line is this: the federal government should not get in the middle of medical decisions, period. This amendment would be unconstitutional and would likely lead to costly litigation. We've already seen similar laws struck down in the courts for violating the Equal Protection Clause by denying transgender adolescents the same care that is provided to cisgender adolescents. And because the bans would violate the fundamental due process rights of parents to provide best practice medical care for their children. I urge my colleagues to oppose this amendment.
Gentleman from Washington reserves. Gentleman from South Carolina is recognized.
I just add to some of the comments made about the medical doctors. The medical doctors are making money on this. Gas stations make money. The free enterprise system does that. And for them to be in favor of it, they're doing the surgery. They're getting paid for it. The military is meant to defend this country, and it's gotten away from that. And that's what the American people are so sick of. Do you want to do away with life-threatening conditions or chronic conditions for transgender surgery? Do you want to take away asthma, respiratory-related diagnosis for transgender surgery? Do you want to do intellectual or development delays, the dollars for that? for transgender surgery, attention deficit disorder, attention deficit hyperactivity disorders. You want to take that away? Chronic conditions that require adaptive equipment, assistive technology, or environmentally or architectural considerations. That's everything that's included, and what you want to do is take money for somebody that doesn't know whether they're a man or a woman. It doesn't make sense then, and it doesn't make sense now. And I'm offended that you want to take dollars away from that cancer patient. If you're telling me the cancer patient goes behind somebody that doesn't know whether they're a man or a woman, you and I just have a basic worldview difference. The price tag for individual gender-affirming surgical procedures and other medical treatments can range from $8,000 to $100,000. And you want to take that from somebody that has a disability? I'm offended that you're doing that.
So I just want to follow that last train of logic. So basically, if a trans person receives medical care, it is by definition taking medical care away from somebody else. So I guess if a cancer patient is receiving medical care, that's taking it away from somebody else. That's simply not true. That is not the choice here. If you need health care, you should get health care. Now, there will be a robust debate within the medical community about what is appropriate, certainly. But to deny trans people, in this case, we're talking about children of people who are serving in the military being denied health care that they need. I don't feel that we should be denying health care from children whose medical professionals say they need, and it is not a choice of taking it away from somebody else. It's not the way our healthcare system works. What this amendment would do is clearly take health care away from families and spouses of service members that a medical doctor has determined that they need. But I want to come back to this argument that somehow our military is being destroyed by wokeness. This is completely and totally untrue. Number one, as we stand here today on the floor, we have the best military in the world. They are serving ably all across the world. It is incredibly talented, incredibly effective. And I am offended that the other side of the aisle seems to want to continue to denigrate our military because of a right-wing agenda to wage a culture war. That's not what is going on in the United States military. Recruitment is a problem, primarily because of how good the economy is, and again, because for a period of time they weren't able to recruit because of COVID. And also, in a little bit apart, because the right wing is bashing on the military 24/7. Now, are there some people in the military who long for the days when gay people and trans people and women and even people of color weren't in a position to compete with them? I am quite certain that there are. I'm also quite certain that it's a relatively small number. All we are trying to do, I yield myself an additional 30 seconds, is make sure that we have equal access to the military.
Gentleman's time has expired.
Really? Then I yield back.